Kia ora whānau, and welcome to another episode of Get a Job and Get Healthy with Costas Enterprises. I am your host, Alex Costas, as always, and today's episode is going to be a bit of a quick one. As you can see from the title, my podcast is now live on YouTube. I have been making, uploading each episode as I can. They are just audio with a image on them at the moment, but very soon I do want to start actually doing video and video these podcasts just with myself. That might still be a couple of weeks away, but hopefully by the time that that's ready, all of the episodes that I'm waiting on are still working on. At the moment, there's about 73, 74 episodes uploaded. Yeah, you can get an idea of what it is that I'm actually doing there as well. This does include episodes that were previously available for subscription members. I only have one sort of subscriber, but if you do want to subscribe, you can go to my subscription websites. Going forward, though, all of the stuff will be up on YouTube for free anyway. There's also links in some of the episodes to things that I'm talking about. Most of the episodes that I'm up to about, I believe, August 2021. So we're over halfway, only just. But at the same time, as I said, there is a few episodes. There's about 108 episodes in total that will be uploaded when this one gets uploaded. Hopefully all done by next week, so that by next week you've got that. You all have access to this. If you are listening on my YouTube, thank you very much for listening. Let's get all the pleasantries out of the way. First and foremost, my email, doncostas@gmail.com. That's N as in Nike. So DON for Nike, COSTAS @gmail.com. You can also find me on my website, www.costasenterprises.business.blog. And you can also find me on Twitter and Instagram @TheKiwiDon. Feel free to hit me up with any questions that you may have as well. So yeah, why was my decision to actually put the stuff up on YouTube? Basically, I've been planning on doing this for a while, and since being made redundant, I kind of sort of with the new laptop that I got, I was like, I wonder if I can, what I can do, whether or not I can download these episodes and then convert them. And yeah, it's a very, very simple process. I'm even using Windows products, so that's going to tell you something. Yeah, it's been a really, really therapeutic way of me being able to get everything out there into the ethosphere. I really enjoy helping people, and that's part of why I'm doing this podcast in the first instance, is to help people. So yeah, I'm really happy that I was able to get that out and start putting out my content into YouTube instead. In my descriptions, you will see, pretty much the same thing, all my socials, all that sort of stuff as well. But you will also find little tidbits about just a breakdown of what the episode is. There's no fancy title tracks. It is literally meant as a audio podcast just on YouTube at this stage. If I do start doing video and all that sort of things, that will also be uploaded to the Spotify aspect as well. But for now, we're just going with what we've got. I still want to work on things like audio, make sure everything sounds good as well. I am driving as always. You guys know me too well. I know I shouldn't, but fuck it. Why not? What else has been going on in my life? I've actually been quite sick recently. I've had a multitude of new things. So I have, most of you know that I have type 2 diabetes, as well as asthma and all these other fun medical problems. One thing that my type 2 diabetes has is I was on quite a few different pills for quite a few years, and that caused some bad gastro problems. I think I've talked about my gastro before, and it's not been pleasant, let's put it that way. Well, they put me on a new injection type pill, which is medication. So it's a once a week injection that will basically replace my diabetic medication apart from my insulin. So I still take my insulin every day, and it's sort of one of these American ones. They're usually used in tandem together, but over in New Zealand we don't have full subsidy, so it's one and the other basically. So I've just picked up my next batch, and they're about $46 in total, so about $16 for one of the for the new injections as well, which is a bit of a bugger, but hey, if it's going to help me, it's going to help me. Now the problem with this new injection is it does wipe me out for a bit, so it makes me quite nauseous. It also makes me dizzy. I can't really drive when I'm doing it. I know I should be driving when I have that injection, but for now I haven't had the injection this week. I'm going to try and take it tomorrow. It's a pretty full-on drug, so yeah, it's not something easy. To the point where I started taking probiotics to try and help stop my tummy from reacting as much as it does, because it also makes me want to go to the toilet a lot, which, you know, is not good. So yeah, it's been a fun couple of weeks with that sort of thing. The other thing as well is I haven't talked about this to many people, but I have a quite significantly about 7 centimeters cyst on my back. The cyst has sort of like not done much. It's been sort of like it goes and comes away. It's not a problem, but at the moment it's really quite bad and quite sore. I've had it operated on twice, but unfortunately, because it is a cyst and I am diabetic, it has sort of grown back. And the problem is they don't really want to operate on it too much because it's too close to the spine. So as you can imagine, it's right in the middle of my back and quite close to the spinal column. So they're a little bit worried about like operating too much, when we're doing it in a doctor's surgery, not doing a proper going under the knife and under anaesthetic. But that is something that is going to potentially, it might potentially happen. Because of that, I've been on some pretty heavy antibiotics. I'm on this thing called flumoxicillin, which is basically a form of penicillin. I'm on 8 a day, which is, and it's literally the maximum amount that you can take. And they completely throw me for a loop. I can barely function. So I haven't really had much to talk about. The reason why I'm talking to you guys now is I've reduced my antibiotics for the last couple of days, and also I haven't had the injection. So I'm actually able to string together some sentences as opposed to, Alex feel bad, Alex sick, which is not necessarily the best words for a podcast. So the antibiotics have meant that the cyst has now gotten quite sore, but it looks like it is an infection and stuff as well, so that doesn't help. The other thing I've been doing is I've been cleaning through my dad's stuff, and yeah, it's basically where me and my partner have got this idea that we want to turn our house into an Airbnb, because we've got quite a big house with about 5 bedrooms, so one of those bedrooms we are going to rent out to a family, and yeah, it's just a couple basically. So it's going to be very interesting because we're going to put them in where my dad used to be. So in my dad's room, I have never cleaned that room since he died. So I'm going through all of the emotions that I should have done 22 years ago, and not really, like I am processing. I had a little cry yesterday, and it was over something really stupid. It was crazy. So basically I opened up one of his many notepads that he had, and there's only one thing written in the entire notepad on the first page, and it's the lyrics to Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain. This is the same song that we played at Dad's funeral. I purposely had not listened to that song since the funeral, if I could help it, because it always brought up feelings and emotions that I didn't really deal with at the time. But after my mum passed, I listened to that song a couple of times, and every time I would listen to it, I would start crying, because when you listen to the lyrics, it's a very, very full-on and quite a loving song, but at the same time, it's not a loving song. It's about someone that's looking to meet their partner when they've gone, where the partner is now, and all that sort of thing as well. So, very much in the feels, and very, very hard to sort of process. So I had a little cry over that. Sorry. Not afraid to admit that I had a cry over that. It is one of those things. But yeah, it was very... it's been very, very weird, like having to go through this stuff very quickly. And the last sort of like, this room was basically like another junk room. We threw cardboard boxes in there. We threw things that we didn't really want to look at very much in there. So it's been going through that stuff, processing all that stuff. And then now with that, where I'm getting to the sort of the nitty gritty stuff, the stuff that was my dad's possessions, reading his diaries and all that sort of stuff. Today's been a very, very emotional day without being emotional. And what I mean by that is I haven't cried, but there's been times when I just felt like really breaking down. And it's good to talk about this stuff with you guys. And I'm going to talk about it with my partner as well. I haven't said it yet, but I mentioned in a previous podcast, like, I always regret that I never felt like my dad was proud of me, and because he never got to see the man that I grew up to be, what that would, how that would appear, and how I would process that. But as I was randomly flicking through one of the many diaries that I found, I saw one calendar day. We're talking very, very small entry. And it said, Alex has done his first production. I'm very proud of him. And my dad never said that sort of stuff to me. It's like, when I was a kid, he used to say he'd love me and stuff, but then in the teenager years, he would never say it. I would say it every day, because that's the kind of person that I am all the time, talking about that sort of things, like love you, love you, love you. And he sort of like, never really did. And so I knew that he did love me. And look, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I did not have a good childhood growing up. I was beaten by my dad sometimes, and I had to deal with a very mental mother as well. So it's not been easy. And so reading that was like, it was just more validation that I had needed and felt like I needed to know that I actually did matter to Dad a lot more. And like just looking through all of the other diary entries, just going, okay, oh, I see, he's mentioned me in not almost every page, but quite a few pages, the ones that I was reading, like, and then I'd go to specific dates, my birthday, Dad's birthday, the day my mother died, all those sorts of things. The day my grandma died, his mother, and it was very, very... It was kind of like some of the closure that I never got. Like, for those that don't know, my father died of a heart attack. He'd had a total of 11 heart attacks over his lifespan. His father had 14. But Dad died while walking around the park across the road from our house. So he didn't die at our house. We never got to say goodbye to him. Up until the day that he died, we actually thought he was okay. We knew he was getting sick with some of the things that he was going through, but yeah, it was a very, very weird thing, because he sort of said, yeah, like for the first time in like weeks, he said, yeah, I'm actually feeling good. I feel well. And then, we find out, we get a knock on the door from the policeman, and they're like, oh, we've got something to tell you. And I knew straight away. What had happened. Because we'd seen the car, we called out for Dad. We were, he must have gone for a walk or something. He said he was going to. And usually he has a cell phone. This time didn't have a cell phone. So it's like he knew that he was going to go. And that's what was sad. But at the same time, like, I never got to, my last words to him were, "I love you." And he sort of grumbled, and that was it. And, not the worst words to say to someone before they pass. Sort of like when I sort of said the same thing to my mother as well. It's like, "I love you, I'll see you later," But you don't remember those things. Not properly, not in the moment. It's like now, a couple months on, I remember that stuff with Mum, but, it's like, it's kind of like a little closure and stuff. And I never got that. I got a little bit of that with Mum. Like, it's, even though it was hard to be there, not when she passed, but, within minutes of when she passed. So it was very, and to never have that with Dad was always hard. Always hard. But, yeah, it was really surprising to see how much he wrote about me. I found my baby book where he explains, when I was, how I was, when I was born, when he found out, like, he said in one line in the baby book, he said, "I had butterflies." It's like he was wanting this. My parents were married for 10 years before they had me. So it's not like they were trying lots and lots and lots and failed. Like, it's just, it happened. So yeah, it's a really, really, it's been a weird day. It's been a weird day. But at the same time, like, clearing out a lot of his stuff and getting ready to donate it and stuff, it's been, this stuff's been there for 22 years. It's been, it was like going into his room and being afraid of going into his room at times. And now we're going to have people living in the room. So it's going to feel like it's more homely. That's going to be weird. It's going to be very, very weird for me. Just as thinking like the house is mine now, like, that's weird. I'm not used to thinking that way. Like, it's been my home, but it hasn't been my house. And now it's my house and my home. So as you can imagine, it's very, I still toil with emotions when it comes to that sort of stuff. And like, I don't really want to get rid of stuff. I'm a hoarder normally, like my father, like my mother. But having to let stuff go and the memories attached to them flooding back. Like, we found our old videotapes, and it's like videotapes of when we went, to Napier, and when we went to, all that sort of stuff. And I haven't watched them yet because I haven't set up a video machine. But when I do, I can already tell I'm going to be a wreck, because I will have heard Dad's voice. I would have heard Mum's voice. It'll be the first time hearing Dad's voice in 20 years. 22 years. Without looking at the same photo, which was the photo that we used for his funeral. Or his wedding photo, which was, 10 years before I was. It's very surreal. It's very weird. But it's good to finally deal with these emotions. In a way, the redundancy was a blessing in that way, because I'm actually doing what I said I was going to. Doesn't make it easy though. Doesn't make it easy at all. But yeah, so that's been my last couple of weeks. As you can imagine, I don't mean to bring the mood down, but it's been a very, very interesting couple of days. And I can only push forward and keep doing what I'm doing, which is the whole plan. That's the whole plan. Turn this house into my home. Because it's already a home. And I know my mum and dad are up there listening. They're enjoying themselves. Doing all the things that they never thought they could do. Visiting, hopefully, Hawaii and Japan, which is where they always wanted to go, you know. So, yeah, it's... Reading that diary entry was a bit like... Yeah, it was quite a bit of closure to think that, hey, my father was proud of me, especially doing the acting. He always told me, like, growing up, don't be an actor. Stay away from being acting. I was like, why? He goes, I want you to get a trade. I want you to have a job. I want you to have a future. Because he didn't see acting as in my future. Now, I loved acting. Every minute of it. Even the nerves and all that sort of stuff. You never know. I might come back to it. We'll see how we go. But, yeah, it's been... To see him say that he was proud of me in my play... You know, and even some of my other plays that he, you know, when I read the diary entry, it's like, saw Alex's play, very good, very proud. That means heaps. Because these are not words that he was writing to me. He was writing them to himself. You know, he's very real and very, very raw in his diary entries to himself. A friend asked me whether or not I'm keeping the diaries, and I was like, no, I have to get rid of them. I haven't looked at them properly in 21 years. The last thing I want to do is hold on to them and, you know, make myself worse. I saw what I saw. I know my dad. I'm proud of my father. And he's now proud of me. And I know that now. Now, I could have looked at those 20 years ago and been like, oh, wow. But it wouldn't have had the same weight because I wouldn't have really understood it. Now, after being the man that I am, going through what I've gone through, processed the emotions that I've processed, I now understand that. And that's the difference. Growth. That's the important thing. I've had growth. And I know you go through growth as well. I'm hoping that you process things the same way that you process things. But if you need to talk, you can always hit me up. Till next time, guys. Love you, as always, and good luck.